Well, I'm a very lucky person. I came to Montevallo in 1988 from a very small hometown. I hadn't been exposed to a lot of the arts in high school because there was not funding for that in rural Alabama high schools. Um, when I arrived on campus, it wasn't probably 2 days before someone said the words college night to me. And there were some girls on my hall that I thought they were cool, and I was kind of interested in knowing who they were. And so we met up and talked one afternoon, and they told me about college night, and they told me about Purple Side. And so I went along and took a look at it, and we didn't have the mixer then. And so you didn't play until it was time to play, so you're kind of thrown into it. My first job was a fly operator for a show called The Perils of Nadine. It was in the spring of '89, and I had various roles. I did everything from stage manage, lighting, technical direction, creative consultant, and I may or may not have been leader in 1994.
She was.
Right? It's true. A long, long time ago.
All right, what about now?
Now, I'm on the other side of it, and I get to watch both sides from a very interesting perspective. It's a rewarding thing to watch because you're given this task, and you do have to figure out how am I going to get there. And it's really neat to watch two different sides with two completely different philosophies both go for the same goal and get there just by very, very different paths. And so I came to the committee when I took the job in Central Calendar Office and Palmer Director back in the year 2000, I think. And I served on the committee and as vice chair of the committee. And then when President Williams was here on campus, he had the committee report to me as director of the university events. So I've been very, very blessed to be in charge of college night now for several years, and I hope to be for many more. And I'm really looking forward to the 100th. Several people have tried to capture college night in words. I've even had people that wanted to document college night to try to capture that thing that happens. It is that thing that happens. As the 1931 leader said, it is indescribable unless you've played it, unless you've cried, sweated, and lived through one. If I had to introduce someone to college night, I suppose that you have to start them off easy because what we do is a little cultish and kind of a little scary. So you have to start them off easily and say, hey, we have an opportunity. And that's what college night is an opportunity to find yourself with people of a like mind, going for a shared goal, who believe in that goal and are willing to work hard to get there. When I drill it down to its most basic parts, it's an intramural activity with a theater component. But that doesn't at all describe what it is, because it's the energy and the creativity. It's the people who play it that make it be alive. And I don't know the words to put to that other than to say, even for me as a player, I get the same thing out of it as an administrator, which is to watch people take on a task that they haven't ever confronted, and that they have to adapt and be flexible and learn and rely on others and communicate. And for me, it's liberal arts in action, and I think that's the thing that makes it so magical, is it is a living thing. Montevallo's been here for 120 years. We thrive on traditions. who we are emanates from our traditions and what we value and what we say is important. What College Night wants from students is their best. And what I mean by that is their energy, their creativity, their intellect, and again, their adaptability. It just requires so much adaptability. The inside jokes, the inside sociological structure of the sides. I mean, this sounds a little, but they are determined by the people that play it and where their values are placed. And, you know, sides can start trends, both good and bad, and those affect the culture of not only College Night, but of campus, because College Night affects the individual affects the whole. So when College Night puts its best out there, that's what it reflects, and that's how it influences things. And culturally, when we think of Montevallo, I think one of the top 3 things that you'll think about immediately is College Night. And there's a reason for that. And it's because it has become so ingrained after 98 years of happening over and over again, and because it is so precious to our alums. That culture goes out into the world with you after you leave Montevallo, because so much of your time and your energy is shaped by these people that you play this game with, and those tend to carry forward in your life. It's the same reason I have many of the same best friends that I had when I played the game. Is those ideals and those principles and those values were true then, they were true here, and they're true in life. So culturally, I don't think that there is, I'm going to brag on College Night and say that I don't think there is another activity at Montevallo that has impacted our culture so deeply as College Night. Oh, that's not a fair question. There's not a part of College Night I don't love. Now, I'm a more theater-focused person, so, you know, my love is the production, because so much time and energy goes into that part of College Night. But what I appreciate about the sports end is I think a lot of people participate in College Night that wouldn't in other ways, and I just hate for students to go through Montevallo and never experience the most unique thing we do. So for that aspect, it's just as important, and if you don't have all the pieces and parts, it doesn't work. So it really doesn't matter if you're the spirit person or your athletics captain or you're the director of the play. If all 3 don't work in sync, then you can't succeed. So you got to have them all and stay balanced. Okay, now you're going to have to pardon some bias here. Wow, that's tough, because the things that make them special, sometimes it's influenced by who played it, sometimes it's the story itself, sometimes it's the challenges that they overcame to get to that point. Out of just saying great shows I've seen, I'll have to say that The Year I Was Leader was a great show. You're expecting me to say this, so I'm going to say it. It was a good, fun show. Was it one of the all-time best ones? No. That even happened before I got here. That was Avon Calling, which was a gold show in '87. So Patrick Evans was a writer of that, and he's a big alum of the Golds, and you should look him up. The Gulls did a show called Mass Hysteria that was very, it was very different from the Gold formula that had sort of been in place culturally for a time. And I really appreciated it because it took the normal formula and notion of what should be a Gold show and sort of kicked it out of the box. And it was really fresh and it was challenging. It was a timing genius. And I had so much love and praise for it then and now. The Purples did a show called Rock Musical that I thought was very clever because it wrapped up a lot of messages about social change, social norms, expectations. It wrapped it up in comedy and sort of gently fed it to you, and you really didn't realize that you had been given some lessons on morality because it was so wrapped up in hilarity. And I thought that was extraordinarily clever, and it's one show that I wish that we could have seen a sequel to. It's one that you could have had a sequel to. I've seen 2 or 3 shows like that in my lifetime here, which would be difficult and almost impossible to do. But, well, nothing's impossible for Montevallo students. We know that. So, you know, I hate to limit my answer to 2 or 3 dots in time because rarely has there been a year that I would say, you know, that I wasn't amused or I didn't find value. But those are my standards.